Greetings guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Welcome. Carl J26 is already in the house. Hello. Good day, sir. Is this April Fool's? No, it's not. It's just me being about 30 seconds late. So, busy day, busy day. I've had a busy day today. I've been doing some behind the scenes network stuff. Won't bore you with that. And also preparing for tonight, getting the next video, which is going to be tomorrow's video, which is the, well, I'll show you them. I'll move over here very quickly and then grab them back. No need to flick over cameras for this. These things, the Halo XLs, full face, and they are full face. Yeah, fill my grooves up. Look at that. Wow. There's only this little bit around here. We are going to be doing turf interaction and bounce. So I put out a post probably about a week ago now, I think, and just basically checking everyone's understanding what they thought turf interaction stroke bounce and all the things that go on with that was and is. And so got some interesting comments, got some interesting views, and I want to put some things to bed. Right, let's see if we can keep that chat up to date. So we've got Carl J26 in the house, we've got Kolchak 357. If you top the ball every time, then you don't have to worry about the bounce. No, you don't, but it could make you top the golf ball, or could it? There you go. JK Betton, turf interaction, hello grass. Yeah. Hello Jay, says, or even Jay says Harry, and Neil's in the house saying very good point for the if you top the ball. So we'll get into the subjects. So the whole idea is today is the live stream for everybody. It's the open all access live stream to everybody. I do a live stream every Monday at 7 o'clock and it's for members only. So we go through some things about what's going on behind the scenes and so what's coming up and all the bits that goes on about. And then other things like direct questions and stuff like that. But every first Monday of the month, it's this. It's the open all access. So A Special K's and even mate, hello buddy, how are you? Michaels says, is a 10 degree, I hate that thing, a good mitral bounce, medium bounce, neutral. Thank you. Is 10 degrees a good neutral bounce? We'll get into that because that's an interesting point because there is a huge difference between turf interaction when it comes to wedges and it comes to irons. Thinking about my turf interaction caused me to top the ball all the time. So, right, let's just first of all, let's do the wedges side of things. Does turf interaction matter? Does bounce matter? Not turf interaction necessarily, but bounce. Absolutely, because on a wedge, you are doing things slightly different. Golf Addicts in the house, hey Jay, I made a live chat. Well done. Thanks for getting involved. With a wedge, you're utilizing the wedge massively differently, or should be, technically, massively differently to what you do an iron. An iron, there's always when I say always, there is ideally a downward attack angle with a certain amount of delofting. Obviously, we all deliver in different ways, and some people, I mean, in a little while, what I'll probably do is I might even get up to the in front and then just sort of show you, get the other camera going and show you what I mean. But on wedges, we are supposed to be delivering the handle a little bit differently relative to the face than we are the irons. The irons are, we are looking for a descending blow, a delofting blow, and so there's a certain amount of shaft lean involved. As soon as you have shaft lean involved in delofting, you alter what that little thing at the bottom is called. Sold my 3 and 5 woods. Did you? Well, what have you got planned to get in its place? So it completely alters people's perception. So wedges. Wedges, yes, bounce makes a massive difference because you've got, say, a 56 degree wedge with 14 degrees of bounce. You are not going to, and especially with a sand wedge, you are not going to be leading with a situation of where you have your hands that far forward that you are going to be delofting that golf club 14 degrees and taking off all those 14 degrees of bounce. When you're looking at utilizing sand wedges with 14 degrees of bounce, sand wedges, generally speaking, okay, you can use a 58 or 60 lob wedge, whatever you want to call it, in bunkers, but a 54, a sand wedge, a 55, whatever it would be, 56, is brilliant because you've got so much bounce on there. You open up the face, add more loft, but it also adds bounce. Let's have a little look. I'll tell you what, I'll go grab this one. Here is a 56.8. So this is a relatively low bounce golf club. And then probably what I will do, I'll utilize the back of my phone as the imaginary ground. Yeah, who's in the house? Hello from the US. Hello, hello, hello. Right, so when you have a shaft leaning, literally not leaning this way, not leaning back, it's literally vertical. It's absolutely straight. And you have this kind of situation here. See if I can get, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You have a leading edge which has risen up. You can just see that there, so I'll exaggerate it. The bounce is on the ground, the edge is up. So this is with my shaft level, not this way, not this way. You can see how angle of attack is different to how much you lean. But if you de-loft the golf club, have shaft lean, it alters how much bounce is effectively hitting the ground. And okay, this has got 8 degrees, which is a fairly low lofted, low bounce 56. But even so, you can still see how it raises slightly up. And it's massively different to a 14 degree. If you get a 14 degree, with the same thickness of sole, it will raise up a bit more. Now, the interesting part of this is that when you're looking at bigger soles, you can have a smaller amount of bounce, but a bigger, longer, wider sole, and it has more effective bounce. That 8 degrees, whatever degree you want to call it, if it goes on for longer, it's like a wing of a Formula One car. It has much more effect the longer it goes on for. Neil says, GolfNut, I know you created a shell company to sell all of your old equipment. Nice move. Oh, Niels is on form already today. Middle Ground says, hello from Southeast London. Hello, hope you're well. Carl says, what is the difference between a Vokey wedge and the new CBX4 Zip Core? I've got one over there, as in the Zip Core CBX4. I'll show you. Is it forgiveness? It's an interesting one. We'll get onto that one. The CBX4 is huge, but a lot of people seem to like it. So CBX4 wedge is big. It is rather large. And generally speaking, whenever you have a golf club which is bigger, which is longer from heel to toe and stuff like that, yes, it is physics that it will be more stable. So it'll have slightly higher moment of inertia, MOY, resistance to twist, that kind of idea. Now, when you're talking about wedges, there's a certain amount of forgiveness, which is a massive myth in wedges. If you look at the reality of it, a CBX4 wedge and a Vokey bladed wedge, in its forgiveness, won't be that much different if you take it from its, how to explain this without going really techie. Okay, if you look at a forgiveness in a 7-iron, I've got the Halo, yeah, I've got the Halo iron here, right? Okay, so when you've got loft at 29 degrees, de-lofting down to whatever it be, but you've got, say, 30 degrees of loft, that's what you're displaying. Most of that loft is going forward, obviously 30 degrees up. As soon as you get past 45 degrees and you start going more than this way, the forgiveness of a golf club is working vertically, not horizontally. So maximizing the driver, where there's very little loft, all that help is resisting that golf club moving the golf ball this way. Yeah. As soon as you start going past 45 degrees, you then start actually, the technology within the head is helping the golf ball go that way more consistently, not this way more consistently. So this is the thing with wedges. It doesn't really work the same way as what people see it of iron. So if you measure the difference between a CBX wedge or any wedge, game improvement wedge, and a bladed wedge, there's actually very small differences between the two. Nothing big enough to really justify buying a wedge solely on the idea of its forgiveness. Now, if you're going to do it by its size, yes, a bigger head where the center of gravity of the head is further away from the shaft, that will be technically more stable. What I mean by more stable, it won't have as much want to over-rotate. So if you can have a much more stable head, especially when it comes to mishitting it, then potentially it will stay better online. But again, we're just talking about the difference between it going forward and going upwards. So in actual fact, there's very little difference in it. The big difference when it comes to bounce, turf interaction, all that lot, with a wedge. An iron is a different thing. We'll get into irons in a sec. GolfNut says, sold my 4 hybrid, now having seller's remorse. I think I jumped the line. Oh dear. Replace them with Highwood 3 Plus and a 7 wood. Not sure what brand to go with. I have the high wood over there, and that review is coming soon. I've got the 4 plus, yeah, high wood. So that'll be an interesting one to do. GolfNut says, lol Nils. Harry says, is droop influencing bounce? And if so, is that the reason we don't care as much about bounce than the normal iron? So droop, we are assuming from that, I know what you mean, but for everybody else, assuming is this, right? The droop, the shaft droops. So when you swing, one center of gravity, as in the head, wants to match up with the center of gravity of the shaft without boring you guys. And so the head will always chase after the shaft and you'll get a bending, yeah? And so that's effectively what happens. Now, I'm not shaft sensitive, but again, I can't help when it comes to lie angle slightly, because everyone is, even if they don't offend the shaft and the kick angle and anything else like that, because of, even in toe down, but because of just physics when it comes, and it is a small amount of degrees. We're not talking this is a 10-degree influence, we're talking it's a couple. That is it. Chris, hello Jay, stop being in as requested in your comment a couple of hours ago. Yes, you are. I tell you what, if we can get your comment up, Chris, I might actually elaborate on that one. Or if you want to write it down there or copy and paste it, probably much faster. Middle Ground says, does your own golf course dictate which wedges and bounce to have? Yes, it does. On wedges, absolutely. On irons, no. But that's a little bit more complicated in that sense. But it's no, technically, but we'll go into it why. So has anyone else got any other questions about bounce in wedges before we go to the important part, is where turf interaction and bounce in the irons is a massive lie. When it comes to manufacturers make a huge thing about forgiveness and turf interaction and all this. Have you noticed why hardly any manufacturers, they'll give you specifications, they'll give you the loft, they'll give you the offset amount, they'll give you swing weight, they'll give you length of it, they'll give you lie of it, they'll give you so many different, some manufacturers even give you top line thickness and stuff like this, but hardly anyone actually freely gives out their bounce numbers. And the reason why is because most irons don't have a lot of bounce, as in hardly any at all. Mizuno have historically had one of the smallest amount of bounce, and they have had quite a bit of, they've been quite open, the fact that they don't have a lot of bounce, because they freely give bounce. It's not difficult to find what bounce on irons that Mizuno have. And even on the new JPX 923 series, they have added a little bit of bounce, 1 to 2 degrees, depending on what iron it is, because they've realized that as time has gone on, this is how they've marketed it, as time's gone on, they have realized through Swing DNA, or that lovely little swing analysis tool that Mizuno have for their custom fitting, which all Mizuno fitters should use, that people are swinging down more, people are de-lofting more, and so they don't have enough bounce. Right. Now, on my my blades, I've got 4 degrees of bounce on a blade, on a Mizuno blade. Interstellar Medium say, hi Jay, for irons, obviously you want to hit the small ball before the very big one. However, would bounce not help reduce the club impact vibration post ball? Well, there's an interesting one. So bounce, potentially, if you have a massive amount of bounce, there'd only ever be a small impact on impact if you hit ball and floor at the same time. Or technically it would have to be the bounce technically first, because obviously if you had no effective bounce, it would ball and floor at the same time. No bounce would get in the way. As soon as you start adding bounce, no different to what we said about, I'll go get the wedge again. As soon as you have a wedge or any kind of golf club, and it's easiest to do with wedge, and you have what they call bounce, shaft neutral, not leaning back, not leaning forward, you can see how that leading edge raises off the ground. Now, obviously, this has much more bounce than most irons do. And so you will not find the same situation happen. So if you went ridiculous, then yes, you would, but they're not. So how many degrees do you think a TaylorMade P790 iron has got? Go on, have a go. Quickly, anyone jump on there to see how many degrees a TaylorMade P790, it is in their players category, yes it is, but it's their biggest one. It's their hollow body construction, their most forgiving one. You tell me how much you think, when it comes to the bounce, a P790 has got for a 7.9. Now, Mizuno had about so JK Betton's got in with a 2. 7. Go on, keep them coming, keep them coming. Now, Mizuno have had about 4 degrees. On my blades, I've got 4 degrees. Cal's got 5. We're getting them in, coming in now. 6, 5, 4, 14. Great, 1 gram. That's what I want to see. I want to see some differences. I don't want to see everyone just go with the right number. That's no fun. So a TaylorMade P790, because of its forgiveness side of things, people would see that a P790 has got a lot of bounce, because bounce is perceived as something which helps golfers when they hit the ground before the golf ball. It helps the golf club slide along the ground. Well, it does, but shall we say dynamic lie has much more an effect than that. We'll go into that one. Blue Collar's in. Hello, hi Jay, and the rest of the nuts. Working on the new sim. Just thought about you being on 12. I won't be on at 12, but I know you mean 12 degrees. Comment from the G4. Thank you. I will scroll because this will go rump like that and I'll lose it. So effectively, we've got down there for between 2 degrees and then 14, 10s and 8s and stuff like that. Which club? The pitching wedge probably 8. The 7.9 has got about 4.5 degrees of bounce. That's it. Now, Mizuno blade has got 4. Now, okay, we talk about effective bounce. Yes, the 4.5 degrees that you're going to get on a P790 is wider, so it's a more effective bounce. But we are talking like, come on, guys. We are de-lofting by 4.5 degrees generally in a decent person's delivery. In a decent golfer's delivery, when they de-loft by the same amount you've got bounce, there is no bounce. So it makes no odds whatsoever about the only ones that will have a little bit of an effect would be the likes of Ping. Ping have like a 9 or 10 degree bounce, give us it 9 degrees, I think it is for a 7.9. 9 degrees is a fair, decent amount. 9 degrees, if you were to de-loft by 5, then you've only got 4 degrees of bounce on there. Well, 4 degrees of bounce is half of what I just showed you on that. How much help is that really going to give? The answer is none. It really isn't. If you were then to add in the issues that people have with dynamic lie, which is this angle here, yeah, so that angle, if you imagine that, let's show the old adage, and it does work. If you've got someone, so Cal says Ping G425 or Titleist T350 are gold standard for game improvement irons. In their size, yes, obviously when you're looking at sort of golf clubs like this one, KL, which is like this, yeah, is a different thing. I mean, this is a hybrid basically with a flat face, so it's an iron, but wowzers, this thing is ridiculous. Would you say VSOL is legitimate or marketing? Marketing. It looks good. It's marketing. There you go. When you talk about wedge bounce, no. Anything that manufacturers do with wedge bounce, absolutely. Grind, absolutely, because you're utilizing the wedge massively differently to what you utilize in an iron. An iron is distinctly different in how its design profile and the relatively tiny amount of bounce that it has got, even taking into account how you de-loft into a golf like that. Okay, people that are adding loft and how they're delivering, and I'll get the other camera going, I'll show you what I mean up on the little sim area, and we'll go through the reasons why for those people actually bounce or any kind of bounce is irrelevant when they deliver what they deliver. So Jacob Edson, thinking about purchasing 93 high launch, do they have more bounce? Yes, they do. They have a little bit more bounce on the basis of they are the widest soles. They have the largest amount of bounce in the Mizuno range, bearing in mind Mizuno don't have historically a huge amount of bounce. Ping have the largest amount of bounce of all manufacturers as far as I can find out. Again, remember, manufacturers do not like giving bounce specifications out. They give everything else out. They just for some reason don't like giving bounce data out. Neil said, would you say the sole width is more significant than bounce? Yes, because it then goes into effective bounce. So if there's going to be any bounce displayed, then obviously the wider the sole, the more that will have an effect. But it's so small. Bear in mind, this is one thing you remember, and I'll pick on the halo again, just because I've got an iron to my hand. We're talking about how this thing here, now this thing is flipping big, yeah? This thing is like big. Now that thing here, that sole is like Jehusive, and whatever influence that sole has, let's go down the old custom fitting adage of this, and it is true, but only true under this specific circumstance. The bounce is there, potentially, that if you were to come down on a half decent angle into the golf ball, but your vertical low point is slightly out because you've shifted horizontally. And so you are going to make ground contact before the golf ball. We are not talking 6 inches, yeah? We are talking a number of a couple maximum. And this all depends on what your angle of attack is, etc. But if you were just to hit the big ball before the small ball, the help that you've got on that sole, if it's a big sole, etc., will help resist digging if one, you are still displaying bounce, you haven't by de-lofting the shaft completely taken any bounce off completely. Yeah, no bounce on that golf club, de-lofting. Let's just say you are still showing some version of bounce. If you are still showing some version of bounce, the only way that bounce will work is if the entire contact patch is touching the ground. If you imagine, if you've got flat lie, great. If you've got toe deep or heel deep, there is a tiny contact patch. No different to why a car can outbrake a motorbike, even though a motorbike is massively lighter than the car. Well, the car, when you look at contact patch on tyres, a poor old bike has effectively got a credit card size. That's it. A car has got a much, much bigger contact patch with the ground, and so it has much more of an ability to stop. No different to this. If this sole, lie angle, dynamic lie angle, delivered into impact, if that is not smack on flat, there is no resistance at all, and it's all going to go out the window. So that's why actually dynamic lie is so far more important than anything to do with people then obsessing about bounce. There is a certain amount of say that a bounce can make a bit of difference. Yes, it can. However, the most important thing is you've got to make sure that your dynamic lie, etc., is literally spot on. What we got? Okay, so eliminate any handle lean in the bunker might save me 4 shots. We need to have a chat. KL says, I think I do agree that low CG is much bigger factor for forgiveness. It is definitely. Kev retracted it. Are you going to retype it? I missed it. Oh, you got me intrigued now. Nefpets 1959 said, I had custom fit 1 degree stronger lofts, Stealth HD irons, fantastic. In general, what alteration to loft makes adverse effect to bounce? Right, if you've got something like, let's say, if you've got something very small in bounce anyway, and you take 1 degree off, 2 degree off because you're strengthening the lofts up, let's face it, you're not delivering any bounce into impact anyway. People turn around and say, and I have got actually, I've got up on the screen, I can pop it up in a sec here, the comments to the posts, the post that I gave out, asking people to give me their feedback on what they perceived was bounce and turf interaction. And a lot of time people were talking about, well, if I don't have enough bounce, I seem to do this and I seem to do that. Well, depending on your delivery, if you're delivering as you should do within reason, then actually bounce is making no difference whatsoever. You have that leading edge, and if you've got no bounce whatsoever because you're de-lofting by the amount of bounce that you have, you are going into the ground with literally no bounce, and it makes no difference. Perry says, or rebound of the earth and knife. Oh, did I miss? I'd missed something. Did I miss something? Oh, I've missed it. Do you have very short? Do you have a very short backswing? If so, do you give up some distance? No. I would like to say, I'm not going to say. Oh, okay, well, I'm saying, anyone know John Rahm? And I am not putting myself in the category of John Rahm. I am just saying, Do you know John Rahm? John Rahm has a fairly what we would say as a curtailed backswing. JB Holmes, all these people that have had, you go to the other extent, you have obviously John Daly had a massive long swing, and then you got different, anyway. John Rahm can create a huge amount of speed within a certain shorter backswing, and I have my golf club still goes parallel, it's just that I am flatter than most. Remember, golf is done within a spectrum, what I call a spectrum of okay, one side, okay, that side. As soon as you go outside of the okay range, you're then having to compensate for the fact that you are so far out of okay zone that you start becoming inconsistent. There is no law at all in golf to say that your swing has to be there, has to be there, has to be there, has to be. As long as your swing is, you see golfers on the PGA Tour that are flatter, you see golfers that are really upright, you see golfers do many, many different things. And as long as they're within a certain level of acceptability, which they don't have to then compensate for their actions. If you look at the likes of Matty Wolff, even Scotty Scheffler, the ones that have interesting swings, Matty Wolff is probably a bit more interesting, he's managed over time, over years, to get his swing so ingrained that he's got so many compensations for what he does, but he does them over and over and over again. Most people who play golf for fun, and they don't have 8 hours a day to grind in those weird and wonderful swings that they have to make them as consistent as the best guys in the world. So I would always say that if you can keep your swing within an acceptable parameter where you do not have to compensate for your actions, then you're going to be overly more consistent more of the time with less and less practice. Mark says, I'm thinking of the Cleveland Zip Core irons you showed yesterday. How do they compare to the 2016 JPX Easy Forged? They're not the orange ones, were they? The black and orange? Or they were the 2014? No, they were the pure black ones, weren't they? Yeah, the 2014 were the black and orange. They were hideous. How do they compare? If I'll be honest, the Cleveland Zip Core irons will be slightly faster off the face. They will be more forgiving of off-center hits, just because I mean they are big. They are big, like big, and they work really, really well. Feel-wise, there won't be that much difference actually between them. The JPX Easy Forged may feel a fraction softer, more muted, but it would be marginal. Actually, the Zip Core irons, considering they are a cast head, mainframe face and everything else like that, feel pretty good. But again, that could be just because of the size of them. You're expecting them to make one god-awful noise, and they don't actually make the amount of racket that you expect it to. They actually feel quite good. Yeah. Perry says, Halo thick sole, hard fairway, hit behind ball, rebound and knife it. Yes. If you had, it would be no different though with a different golf club. If you're going to hit the ground that far before, it makes no difference. If it's hard fairway, you're still going to bounce. I've seen it done with blades. Blades have got the smallest of soles and the littlest of bounce, and someone has hit the ground quite a bit beforehand. A lot of the time it's because they're playing downhill lies and they haven't set themselves up to set for the downhill lie, and of course their low point artificially is then behind it. They hit the ground, bounce up and basically knife it. That happens whether it's massive battering ram juggernauts like this or blades. Those kind of situations are the same. I've only just woken up to the wrist set is individual instead of trying to stick to lead arm parallel. Yeah, that's a video in itself. Definitely is. Nefbets1959 says, loving the idea of hard fairways, if only. Yes, they will be here. We had a lovely summer's day kind of in the UK today. It was lovely and sunny for most of the day. It was quite pleasant for the first day in I don't know how many. Neo says, random off-topic thought, how much of a difference in forgiveness would you figure a I-230 versus 245? two completely different golf clubs because of the design and also lofting. 33 against 30 is very difficult to. I may be able to do that in delivery, but it's difficult. 3 degrees is a lot. It's basically nearly a golf club, so it's a little bit harder for me to marry up lofts in delivery. But the IT30 is one of the most forgiving players cavity irons around. It won't be able to beat 245. 245 is tungsten. It's no different to me saying, would an i230 win against a P790? In its raw forgiveness, no, it can't do, because obviously P790, 245, anything else like that has got a huge amount of tungsten in it, lowering its center of gravity. So you're going to have a lower center of gravity anyway because you've got more loft on the i230, but still, you compare it like for like, take the loft and go into a 6 iron and weaken it or something like that, and then no, 245 would still win, no different to P790 would still win. Oscar says, are the zip core irons comparable to the Titleist T350s? T350s are a big golf club, but they're like, it's kind of a blend between those and those, isn't it, really? The T350s are big old girls, and okay, we are going to the extreme here, but it's a kind of blend in between the two, being honest. TH says, lol, does this have anything to do with the comment I left in your 245 versus P790? Might be wrong on which video it was. I'm not quite sure. What did you write? I can't remember now. Kev says, even again. My question is, if you're a picker of the ball, is bounce actually relevant? Yes, depending on how. So if you're a picker, we are talking about how much angle of attack you are displaying. Yeah. And so there's a difference between angle of attack. I'll go up to the other thing. I'll just do Carl's quickly one. I mainly use my wedges for full shots, and then around the greens I use a 56. In this scenario, do you think going with set wedges are best? We'll tackle that one as well. I'll tell you what, we'll tackle that one at the same time. Let's see. Oh, that is working. There you go. I surprised myself there for a second. So I've now got 2 golf clubs in my hand. So I've got the 7-iron of the Halo, and I've got that Cleveland relatively low bounce 56. Right, so I'll go over here so I can actually see. I did have plans to get the iPad going, and so I can actually see the comments, but yeah, time ran out. So let's just do Kev's question first. My question is, if you are a picker of the ball, is bounce actually relevant? Right, so yes it is, because there's a difference between being a picker. So what we're saying with a picker, we're saying that someone basically literally just bruises the ground, literally just touch it. That's all they're doing. They're not leading with any amount of dig, yeah? And so when someone's leading with downward angle attack, that is when you're gonna get some form of divot, or at least deep abrasion, we call it, in the ground. And so, but there's a difference between being someone who is a picker, which means they haven't got a steep angle of attack and they're not someone who's digging the ground in down like that. What they're doing is they're kind of hitting shots where you're literally just bruising the ground. However, someone can bruise the ground 2 different ways. They can either do what I just did there. Basically, you can see how my hands stop and they just basically let the golf club go. And when you're doing that, you're constantly, obviously you're going to a point of where you're hitting the ground there. Your shaft lean is fairly neutral, which means whatever loft you're delivering there, say 56 degrees, is going to be relatively close to the amount of loft that you're going to have on there dynamically, but you're also going to be displaying bounce angle because your shaft is vertical, and of course, whatever angle you have on there is going to be displayed. However, you can also do it this way. People can come in and drag their handle and raise up. So it's going to be really difficult, there we go, for me to do this. There you go. So I'm de-lofting, but at the point I'm coming up, that's harder. That's just grazed. That's just too hard. There you go. It's harder, and of course I'm exaggerating, but you can see people can de-loft and also just bruise the ground. It's more difficult, but people do some weird and wonderful things. When you measure them, you won't believe how much people can de-loft, but then actually then don't physically hit down that much. And so in that case, if you are displaying, in what I was doing there, 56 degrees, but then hitting shots like this, yeah, by the time I'm hitting the ball, I'm displaying I don't know, probably 10 degrees or so, if not more, shaft lean there. Well, that's way more than the out of bounce I've got. I'm displaying negative bounce, which basically means I'm hitting blade first. So it does, you just have to work out which and how you deliver. Right, quickly let's go to Carl so before it goes through all this and I lose them completely. I mainly use my wedges for full shots and then round the greens. I use 56 in this scenario. Do you think it's going to, okay, yes. Right, so yes and no. So when it comes to wedges, what I generally speaking have done when I used to custom fit and coach full time, custom fitting part of the wedges was a very important thing. Most people haven't got a lot of money, so it's a case of ideally I would love for people to be able to have 2 or 3 sets of wedges. Why sets of wedges is because you're talking about different ground conditions. A player's setup of how they deliver the wedges relative to how the ground conditions are completely different. So if you've got someone who's playing on soft ground, hard ground, 2 completely different setups. So what I used to do when it comes to wedges was this. I used to get their gap wedge, you run a gap wedge or whatever you want to, be a pitching wedge at 6 degrees with a Mizuno say, then your gap wedge can be 7, 8 degrees, no problem whatsoever. When it goes to a 55 or 56 or 54, whatever their sand wedge would be, I would whack their bounce as high as I possibly could do. Go for the option with the largest amount of bounce you can physically get, like a 55, 14, 15 degree bounce. So something which has a decent sole to it, but a fair load of bounce. So what I mean by, here we go, you got amount of loft, whatever, but a huge amount of bounce and a fairly thick sole. So this golf club would then have the most bounce of all of them. Then when it comes to their 58, I would then do a 58 with a fairly medium, nothing high, amount of bounce. So I would say, I mean, this one's got 8 degree on it. I would say like a 10 degree 58 would be fine. Yeah, nothing going to 15s and stuff like that. The reason why is most people haven't got the money to have 2 or 3 sets of wedges. I think everyone agree on that one. And so the best way to do their wedge setups, you get a bit of versatility in it rather than having to buy lots and lots of wedges, is if you have a gap wedge set, your gap wedge, that's fine. You can use that around the greens, pitching, chipping, all that lot, no worries. When you're looking at bunkers, and this is the big thing with bunkers, is that you need golf clubs to be able to get that golf ball out, whether it be a high shot, whether it be a bit of distance, whether it be really, really puffy sand, whether it be hardly any sand in there. You know, when you come in, you kind of dig your feet in, straight away you can feel the subsurface. You think, oh, this is going to be knife C. You need versatility in your wedges. Best way to do that, when you haven't got any money, is to buy your 2 wedges. The sand wedge is going to be a whatever 54, 55 degree, say 55 degrees in the middle, but loads and loads of bounce. Because on those shots where you go in the bunker and you know you start digging yourself in and you think, crap, am I ever going to finish? It's up to your knees by this point, and you're thinking, yeah. We've all been in those bunkers where you've got so much sand in there, it's like wowzers. Okay. On those ones, you need plenty of bounce. If you've got so much opportunity there with all that sand in there for this golf club to dig straight away. If you're leading with any form, it's just going to just bury it. The ball's just not going to do anything. So you need bounce. So you get your 55 degree, which has already got 15 degrees or so of bounce on it, and open the old girl up. So you've now got 55 degree. Now open through twist, what I call open up, is I'm pre-twisting the golf club open. So I will set the golf club open like that, then take my grip. Yeah, I'm not doing my normal grip and then open the face, because you're just going to take it back out again as soon as you go for your swing. So you open the face up first, then grip. Now personally, I have a different grip for certain parts of my short game. It's just to control loft. So whenever I have an open face in a bunker, I will always take that top hand and I will weaken it off. Why do I do that? Is because if you imagine, if you go strong on everything, you can really easily take that away. When you go strong, it's really difficult to add more loft. So if you get your bottom hand and then with a pre-open face grip, with bottom hand then add that twist this way, that keeps the loft on. It's very difficult to take loft off when you've got a really weak bottom hand. So I use a different grip with the bunker. But because you know you've got loads of loft and you've got loads of bounce, you've got so much bounce there that it doesn't matter what kind of ground conditions, you are not, that lovely thump, that sound that you get, that thump when you hit the amount of bounce that you've got against the sand. But you'll get that when you've got loads and loads and loads of bounce. Conversely, if you're looking at those bunkers where you get in and straight away, as soon as you move it, you feel the subsurface. You're thinking, oh, here we go, no sand on this one, nice city. The last thing you need is bounce. Like the last thing you need is bounce. And so you then go over to your 58, your 60 degree, or whatever it is, with not a lot of bounce. Not a lot of bounce. You can then open it up a little bit if you need a fraction more height, but be careful. 60 degree, you've got plenty of loft on a 60 degree. You don't really need to add too much more. But then you just need to obviously, without less bounce on there, not like open it up to increase even more bounce. Just play it like you're picking it out of the ground, because of the fact that if you have something there with lots and lots of bounce and no sand there, it's just like this, hard, firm. You're just going to go bounce, knife it, chunk it, whatever it be, it's just going to be bad. And so that's why, best way to try and get your wedge setups for the most versatility you possibly can do with the least amount of spend. That's effectively what I used to try and do, because not everyone has got loads and loads of money that they can just literally just throw just countless wedge setups. Right, let's quickly go back over here. Oh, here we go. Can I go that way? Yeah, we go, we're back. You get to see my shoulder as I move back in. Right, what have I missed out? What have I missed out on? Right. That's right, that's good. Yeah, so you made the comment that it was a coin toss between the two clubs as far as performance, and I commented that the difference may come down to sole design and turf interaction. You asked me to expand. Oh, I remember that, yes. I can remember now, TH. Have I gone past it? Probably. This is 245 versus P790 review. Oh, Joe. Hello, Joe. That's a very, very, very kind of you. Everybody give Joe Lane some loving from me. That's a very, very, very kind $9.99 donation. That is a very, anytime anyone donates, always warms my cockles. It does warm my heart when it does that, because obviously that does mean a lot. Average ball striker, hit the ball clean or skim the turf. My floor is hitting behind the ball. Should I go with less bounce or a thinner sole? Higher bounce clubs bounce on me when I hit behind the ball. Yeah. Okay, we have to go back to the... Joe, very, very quickly, when you hit your shots relatively well, does the golf ball go up quite high? Is your initial launch angle quite high? Do you play a little fade as well? Okay, and flippy, lovely. We're going to get over there and I'll show you what I mean. The Mizuno shirt saga, that one looks okay. Right, this is the old one. So this is AW23, not SS24. If you guys want to, I will go through, my members already know and have seen some of the, well, I haven't actually changed them since last Monday. They are still sitting there because I'm waiting the rest of them, and I might in a little bit show you what's coming. But my wife, very kind of her, that she left me some post-it notes. Golfers, I recently heard Jack Nicklaus used a 58 degree 17 bounce. It'll be interesting to see how he delivered. I'm not quite sure how he delivered his handle position, impact or anything, but yeah, they all use different things. Right, I want to go tackle Joe's one. Definitely, I do. Let's just go quickly through here. When it comes to the two clubs, basically there's a very, very little difference between the 245 and P790. I mean, it's turf interaction. It's going to be like you've got such a small amount of bounce on there. If you're going to de-loft a P790 and a 245, a nominal amount like you should do with your 7 irons and hit the golf ball properly and all this lot, then you're going to be displaying no bounce difference. There's going to be near on negative bounce anyway. So anything to do with turf interaction, when you're looking at that, it's nothing to do with bounce because there's basically nothing being delivered. Will says Srixon ZX7 V sole in irons versus the Mizuno Pro 243 223 sole for a high swing speed 3-ish degree out to in fade. A big difference in turf interaction, virtually the same. Virtually the same. There would be no difference whatsoever. Again, if you're going to be Potentially you'll find when people go across, they have sometimes this steep idea, they have this tendency possibly to hit down. I've also seen people that swing across and also are shallow as well from the point of view of their attack angle, so as not to say that everyone's the same. But no, there's going to be so little difference between, because you're not going to really be seeing any form of, I mean, the difference in sole thickness between them is so minute and it's so tiny. If your dynamic lie is out by a small amount, that by far will have more of an impact on your turf interaction than any form of bounce at all. Andrew, so if bounce isn't the thing to focus on, what should you look for to optimize turf interaction for a steep negative angle, or what's best for a shallow swing? Right, so the whole idea of turf interaction, if you hit the ball first, turf interaction is so dependent on ground conditions, it's crazy. So to a point of where you could go with a golf club that you've got the great, brilliant, I tested it on Tuesday, turf interaction was lovely. I've hit shots, these little baby divots were coming out, they were lovely shape, lovely size, optimum depth. What is optimum depth? But you know, you kind of, and then 1 week later, it rains like you would not believe, and now you're taking stakes the size of whatever, because you're hitting down and blah, 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 blah. The ground conditions will have an effect on what that golf club does, yes. The difference between is you're hitting ball first. If you're not going to hit ball first and you're hitting ground first, there is a bigger, much bigger problem with the fact that the individual is not controlling their low point than bounce. Bounce will literally do next to nothing when it comes to that. It is just a complete, yeah, not the same. Oh, let's move it up there so I'm not getting rid of that. But you can see what I mean. So people need to stop necessarily focusing on turf interaction after the golf ball. Your angle of attack and your amount of D-loft will basically create the turf interaction. How the golf club feels through that turf interaction is massively depending on the conditions of the turf. And if you have the exact same swing but then change the conditions of the turf because it's rained or it hasn't rained, it'd be massively different. The main thing people should look to is control their vertical low point. If they hit ball first, then floor, then after that, it's turf interaction is turf interaction. It changes constantly anyway. And Nuffits 1959 says, I've been learning crack-handed chipping? Yeah, I can't read. Cack-handed chipping play for almost 12 months. I find it makes total sense and also find the strike is consistent. I'm left-hand dominant, same as me. Maybe this helps. Why is this not common? Why is it not common? Because it's not taught. The great thing about having the cack-handed way is because obviously it levels your shoulders a little bit more and stuff like this. Now, when people get a little, I tell you what, I'll go up there because I want to do Joe's. I want to sort of do Joe's one. I'll take the mouse with me. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll flick over to that like that, and then flick back over here because I want to take my mouse. As you can see, I've moved my mouse over there so I can move this because Joe deserves a very good explanation. I have my thing over here as well, my wedge. Right, so yeah, so basically very quickly when it comes to doing the left hand cack-handed or whatever, people in their wedge setup can get a little bit this way. So they can get like a little bit too much like this. Like fine when you're talking about driver, absolutely fine when you're talking about an iron to a certain extent. When it comes to a wedge, we need to be much more sort of over this way. We are not talking. So the best way to do it was if you get your setup like when you want to, whether it be a 1 foot width or anything else like that, no worries. Get yourself set up. Say if you want to go open to target, it doesn't matter. Get your ball positions fine, and then literally just put weight on your left side, yeah, like this, and then literally just rest your foot back down, and that's it, yeah. And then bend over, you're fine. So what people do is they say like they get your weight on the left hand side, and they do this. And they push weight on the left-hand side, but they buckle their hip forward, and all you've done is basically just creased your side. And then this is the whole classic thing when people go down there and hit the ground back here, because there's a difference between, won't bore you, there you go, that's the whole idea. But when you do the left hand like that, because it automatically gets the shoulders a bit leveler and you haven't got so much propensity to do. But yeah, so it does work, and it's but it's not taught, unfortunately. So Joe, average ball striker, hit the ball clean or skim the turf? My floor is hitting behind the ball. Should I go with less bounce or thinner bounce or no bounce? Don't worry about it. So Joe, ignore bounce. We're going to be looking at how to fix you, because the whole idea, when you've got a swing fault, that's why I asked, do you find yourself, when it comes to hitting high shots, a bit flippy? The reason being, because I'm seeing you, yeah, you're coming in like this, and your low point is back here. What you'll see, so if you see my shadow, can you see my shadow? You can see my shadow, there you go, right? Is if I go and turn over the golf ball, I don't want that shadow moving. Or if you look at my head, I don't want that head moving. If your shadow's moving this way, which I'm guessing it will be, yeah, then you start swinging like this and get to a point there. That's where you get flippy, because your hands want to get to the golf ball. Your golf ball's over here, you're happy here, ready to go. And then you get to a point of where you go like this, and then you get like this. And there's always a little bit, if you watch people in slow motion especially, as soon as you get to here, there's always, when there's this push to push the golf club out that way, every action, equal opposite, you'll find most people, his head, go this way. So they get this way and they go like that. So you're behind the golf ball anyway, and then you're trying to get the golf ball, get the golf club to the golf ball, which then you're trying to throw the golf club at the golf ball like this, delivering loads and loads of loft, bruising the ground, hardly taking any, literally picking it off the ground. You'll hit high shots, flippy shots, sometimes you can catch them and they can go over there, and all the, we need to fix your low point. Don't worry about equipment. Equipment is not going to help in any way. If you get high bounce, low bounce, no bounce, 90 degrees of bounce makes no difference. We've got to fix you. As soon as we fix you, it opens up the world into what kind of equipment then you can get. There's no point in restriction yourself, getting to a point of where I need to have this type of golf club. If I don't have this type of golf club, then I can't play golf. What you want is you want your golf swing to be a point of where you can then be, the world is your oyster. You don't have to have a perfect swing. What we need to do is control certain angles to give you the best chance of making you as consistent as you possibly can do. And that does mean fixing your low point. So your low point has to be controlled. No different to when you swing, we want that head to be able to be rotating. Yeah, we can move our shoulders and stuff like that, but I do not want to see your head go this way. And definitely don't want to see that. I want to see you be able to turn and then a push. Yeah, turn and push. Your shadow, we are getting close to the summer. It will be here shortly, hopefully, of where you'll see this little thing on the ground. It's called a shadow. I have the lights in here purposely so I can see my shadow and I can see how my shadow works. When I used to teach full time, it was just a case of shadows, lights effectively, used to be one of the best teaching aids ever. Why? Because when I'm standing over here teaching someone, blah, 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 yep, and they've got their own visual aid, aka it's attached to you, kinda. So whatever you do, it does. And as soon as you get an individual understanding, as soon as they're moving off the golf ball, you can see how much movement. How much movement do you see PGA Tour players make when it comes to their swings? You don't really see that. Of course, you're going to get some weird and wonderful ones, but generally speaking, you'll always see golfers, what they'll do, they may push into their right-hand side. They'll never move past a certain line when they're turning back. They're always ready to push off it. You'll never see them getting past it. They may move a fraction. Most don't. Most you'll see they'll just turn like this and then they'll go. But this little thing called your shadow is a wondrous teaching aid for you to understand your low point. Thank you very much, Joe, for the very, very kind donation. That's the least I can do, try to explain it as the best way I possibly can do. Right, let's move the mouse and see what we've got. Perry says, the Mizuno shirt, yes, we'll get to the Mizuno shirts, that's very good. Flippy, golfers, I've recently heard, yes, at the high ball, with a fade, like you say, Joe, I tend to come over the top. Yeah, that's that classic thing, you're getting here and then you're trying to get to it, you do that. Keep control of your low point. If you remember, your swing is an arc. Your swing is an arc? Yeah, your arc is a swing, swing's an arc. Anyway, when you swing like this way, the golf club on the way down, exiting down, obviously it's going down, but it's going to the right. As soon as it gets to the low point, it's not going left or right, up or down, it's at the low point. Every other part, exiting up and left. Remember? So it's an arc. Now, if you're behind the golf ball here, even if you have nothing to do with shoulders, as in getting the old arc going, swing direction going that way, even if you were to swing normally, no different to driver. Again, so I'm 0-0 with a 7-iron, give or take. And of course, as soon as I go to driver, I'm swinging left. So I actually aim 4 or 5 degrees out to the right. So I can counter that and I effectively pull to target, but that's a different conversation. But you can see, if I move my low point this way, I will exit left. And if I move my low point massively this way, I'll exit out to the right. So you could help a lot your path issues, not by focusing on how to get your path sorted out, by focusing on your low point, your vertical low point, and that will fix your path as a byproduct. Right, what do we got? What do we got? KL says, higher swing weight has improved my fat shots tremendously. Irons at D9, fairways at E3, D9. Big boy. Swing weight is a wondrous thing. People don't mess around with swing weight enough to actually see how it affects them. Some people it doesn't affect at all, it doesn't. Other people it affects massively. And you can make a massive change to people in swing. The problem is, because there's no one-for-one, you don't know if someone's going to react well to it or not. You can't necessarily just change irons on the basis of, well, try this, try that, try this. Tuition's a lot easier and more effective, but if someone is affected by swing weight and you're affected in the right way and you've done that, then yeah, absolutely, go for it. Will says, thanks so much, wealth of knowledge. There's a lot in there, whether it's wealth of knowledge, I'm not quite sure. Dave Ben says, why do I hit the ball to the right of the green? It can either be because of the fact that your alignment is poor, it could actually be the fact that you've got a face open at impact, or it could be the fact that your face is actually square to target impact, but your path is left of that. You could hit off the toe and it twists the face. You could also hit it off the heel and it cuts because of hosel interaction, otherwise known as hosel rocket. There are many different reasons why your golf ball always goes to the right. I would need to know a little bit more information, and I'm happy to help if I did know that. You can add any more information to that one, Dave, then I'd, yep, definitely go for it. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Perry said, Ninja has swiped the TV remote, so I'm afraid I'm on catch up tomorrow. Don't worry about it, it's fine, Perry. It's lovely to have you along. And then JK Benton says, we all owe Joe for that lesson. Well, everyone donate a little bit to Joe then to make up for it. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate that always. So, right, I'll flick over back there unless anyone else wants me to do any more kind of demoing. We'll get back onto the subject of bounce. Right, let's go flick back over. We're back again. There we go. So, there you go. That was fun. By all means, so get your questions in and stuff like that, and then we'll have a little chat about other things. Oh, we got a choice of YTD. YTD, for the people that have never joined, obviously I do live streams every single week and they're for members only. So if you want to become a member, get access to me every Monday to have a chat about all the things that are in your mind or on your mind about golf and stuff. And obviously I go through all the things that are going on during the weeks and behind the scenes stuff and stuff like that with equipment which might be coming in, etc. That's why I do members, so they get little perks like that. If you want to be a member, if you go down to my homepage, YouTube homepage, there's a little button called join. If you go click on that, and there's a little option zone there. So I think it's what, £3.99 a month, I think it is. So what's that? Is that how much does a coffee cost in Starbucks or Costa? Don't know. But just consider it. You don't have to if you don't want to. Obviously, I'm here every first Monday of every month for everybody. But yeah, all the members are very much appreciated. So I'm going to move things out the way because I have a tendency to play with stuff in my hands. Well, so for the members who know, obviously this is a bit of a pattern. I think we have a YouTube drink, a YTD, and that's what it is. Because obviously, with me talking all the time, constantly, I do that very well. I need some form of, Right. Okay, so shall we, for a bit of fun, shall we go to, yeah, let's do this. Right, let's tackle this bit by bit, shall we? Now what I've got here, I've got all the comments. Ta-da! Goldfish said, any idea what bounce is on the 11 hybrid iron? Now I did actually ask 11 stroke sub 70. Did they actually get back to me? Hang on. Hang on a second. This is I've got it's wife admin. Never ignore the wife. Wife admin sorted out. Okay, cool. So I've got no update from that. So what have they got? What have they got? I don't know. Let's go grab one. What's this one here? That's a 6. That will be a 7. I know that because the great thing about things, and I know people don't like head covers, but head covers are great because they tell you what one you've got, unless someone's played messy games with you and swapped all your head covers around. No, they haven't. That's good. So what bounces are on an 11 hybrid? That's a very good question. So bugger all. Not much. Now, Neil, I think you might be right. There is basically 0 bounce on this. So whatever help you get from these are the basis of the thickness of the sole. Now, bearing in mind, if you had on a hybrid iron, these are still designed to take a divot. This is the whole idea. So yes, with that amount of thick sole plate that you have on there, and you're hitting the ground first, will that make a difference? If you're de-lofting, excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops, will it make a difference? Nope. If you're someone who extends the wrist angles too early and a bit flippy, scoopy, whatever word you want to use, then yes, it will do, because obviously that's going to be interacting with the ground. But again, the bounce, the whole idea of this will only ever work. I mean, that's a big old sole plate, and if you have any interaction whatsoever, if you're going to deliver the golf club with any interaction with the sole whatsoever on the ground, it will only make a difference if the dynamic lie is perfectly 0. Yeah, bearing in mind, this is still a semi-cupped, yeah? So, you've got to make sure the best you can. Right, I'll just tell you what, I'll just flick this back. There you go. We've got, yeah, Neil said 0 minus 1, absolutely. Joe says, thanks, K Betton. Joe, thank you, Jay. We all, yes. See, everyone give like $1 back to Joe. Main man Norm says, Joe, I go round between 85 very occasionally and normally 95 to 100. I play with an LS Epic driver, or yeah, good one, awesome, and D7 irons, and yeah, sorry, awesome, and D7 irons and 3 wood. Would I see an improvement with, say, P790s, and would a Vokey help? Honestly, main man Norm, without knowing your delivery dynamics, anyone who answers that question is either talking out of their backside or looking for a sale. And so the fact that I would need to know your average strike pattern, I would need to know your club delivery, so your angle attacks, your delivered lofts, your face to paths, your paths as well. Your dynamic lie would be a massive thing as well. I would need to know so much to be able to say if any particular iron might help, Now, bearing in mind, irons have much more of a help when it comes to their forgiveness vertically and horizontally. When it comes to the difference between your D7 irons and a P790, there's not a sufficient design difference between the two to say one is going to be massively wow than the other. I would say, as a generalized, no. You won't see that much difference. But I could be absolutely wrong because I don't know your delivery dynamics. So yeah. Carl J26 says, had my old set of Ping I-20s, good golf, extended 1.5 inches. Holy moly, that's some long old things. And strengthened 2 degrees. What do you think that will do to my distance used to hit 79155? You'll probably hit a 7-iron now, 362 yards. Wow. Carl J26, now 1.5 inches longer. I've never, ever, ever, ever had anyone go, have they gone, no, have I, 1.5 inches or is it 1.25 inches was the most I have ever gone. Because length of golf clubs is a really interesting topic in itself. They were short compared to my own. Okay, so if they were shortened already, then fair enough, yeah, lengthen back up again. There's a really interesting thing about shaft length, which many fitters completely miss and completely don't understand about everything. Yeah, so we're shortening a minute. Now, that's a rough way to try and get back distance. Yeah, I know, wow. Now about even. Me, but was a different fitter. Yeah. Yeah, wow. I can't remember how long, is it 1.25 inches? I can't remember if that's the longest I've ever gone. Now, bear in mind, unless you've got, I'll tell you what, I'll just pop over to the other, and I'll show you what I mean. Easier for me to explain. Right, so people all come in different shapes and sizes. I think you'd all agree. So I am 5'10", and if you put my span out, I am 5'10". So it's that classic thing. If you can go up against the wall and you can kind of, yeah, that idea, and you're up to, yeah, that one. But everyone's not the same. Everyone comes in different shapes and sizes. And I have taught people where, I've custom fit people where you've got, I don't know, really tall people, but they got arms like a gorilla, you know, dragging the knuckles across the ground kind of idea. And they actually need standard length irons, and they're 6'6". They're big people, but they don't need long golf clubs because their arms are like ridiculous. So they'll do their normal posture, but their arms dangle down longer than most. Conversely, I have had people which are 5'3", 5'4" men, which are tiny, but they've got arms like a T-Rex. And so they actually need 1/2 inch long. And you think, wow. Humans are brilliant because they all come in different shapes and sizes. However, there is always this, you're always going to get weird and wonderful things with humans because you get that spectrum and it's brilliant. But as a general term, the taller you are, the longer your limbs. So the taller you are, yeah, you'll find a lot of times the taller people also bend over a bit more and stuff like that. I mean, Cooch is a great one for that. I mean, you can see how much he bends over and stuff. But it doesn't matter. Everyone's limbs, generally speaking, goes in line. You get the weird and wonderful, of course you do. But as they go taller, their arms get longer, and also so their hands get lower from a point of view. They're going up and their hands are coming down. So people say straight away, how tall are you? 6'6". Well, you need 1.5 inches. You need nearly 2 inches longer. Let's measure you first. And I don't mean measure you, stand here like this. Because if you do the pings thing, and I love ping, but if you do the pings wrist to floor, knuckles to floor, whatever to floor, that puts you in this posture here. Well, I know of no people that hits the golf ball like that. They have a golf posture. And everybody's posture is different. If you're someone who stands much more like this, yeah, then that's taller. I am someone, as a generic thing, within the spectrum, to say that I have a tendency to want to be a little bit more over. I'm not Michel Wee putting, yeah, but I am a little bit more over than what you'd say most, although not that far, but I'm just on that side of that way. We all come in so many different shapes and sizes, and then we have a completely different posture-driven requirement for size the amount of people which get fit for longer shaft, because you're tall, or because you're tall, you've got this, because you're tall. They don't need it. But why do people constantly, and it is a bit of an epidemic in itself, why are people constantly being fit for longer shafts? That's a question. I will retire back over there to answer some more questions. But pop in the comments, why do you think people are constantly being fit incorrectly for longer shafts? Oh, Steve's in the house saying chat is frozen. Probably did. That's because I've got a little, that tab there needs to be up on my screen. If it's not, because I flick over, then sometimes it will go, there you go. Right, so Kale says my irons are 1.5 inch longer, but that's to get D9 swing weight. I love them, less fat shots, curiously. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. 3 years ago, I cut 3 inches off my G25 driver and never had any, never had any weight and love it. Yeah, you'll take a lot of swing weight off of that. I mean, it will feel like it's a, yeah. Joe retracted a message. I hope he rereads it, redoes it, and whacks it back up again. Okay, if I was to guess additional cost, no. Is it for the 1 in 10th moon shot, which is $, as in the case of the longer the shaft, the faster you swing, the more potential you have to hit the golf ball further than you've ever hit it before, and then you go, wow, these are amazing, I must buy them now. Then you might be right. Kev says, I'm 6'2" and stand tall as you described, 2 degrees up and 0.5 inch longer. That's all, yeah, good. Scott says, longer shafts will create more speed and hit the golf ball longer, sold. Absolutely. And this is the problem. These things are amazing. Quad. That thing there is an amazing tool. It allows people to potentially do things so much more honestly than they've ever done before. However, also it gives them potential to dishonestly sell, going down the route of what men, ego-wise, love to do, and that's wrong. Drives me mental. So there you go. But you're right. Yes, it is. It's just money. Faster it moves. The problem is there is a certain rule, yes, that I've always gone down on this idea, and it is true, tried and tested, and it will not fail. You should always, as best as possible, you fit the golfer for as long as they possibly can control. This is also taking into account what happens when they get to their longest iron, not with a 7-iron. The 7-iron is great, but if you can make that to a point of where you can make that an inch longer and they can still control strike, that's great. But what happens when it goes to their 5-iron, and their 5-iron is an inch longer now than their 7, which it would be because you're half-inch steps. And that's when people go very, very wrong. So there's always this, yes, you should always fit someone for as long a shaft as they can control, but you have to, in the world of only fitting with 7-irons, because again, that's all manufacturers give accounts to physically use, if not the cost to manufacturers would be mental. You have to be aware of what's going to happen when you put another inch on that shaft. And so as soon as they start showing any forms whatsoever of, my head is not on that 7-iron, my head is on that 5. So, yeah. Kyle says, I took lessons and the guy put inch on every club with extensions, didn't even finish all the lessons because he was trying to change everything, took the clubs back to standard. Wow. He was, yeah, okay. So, rule of thumb when it comes to human beings, generally speaking, can think of maximum 2 things in their swing. When it comes to what I used to call static and dynamic, when it comes to static, anything to do with posture, anything to do with grip, anything to do with anything else like that that you do not in motion, You can have 10 things, as long as you can tick them off in your head, like a checkbox. Dunk, ever done that, ever done that, done that, done that, done that, done that, job done. Because all the time at the moment, you, in your pre-shot routine, that you're not swinging, you're not in motion, you do the same things over and over again. So all that really is adding little bits to that and changing your pre-shot routine to add certain things for making sure your setup is right, etc. You can have as many of them as you want. 2, 5, 10, as long as you can remember them, as long as you can tick them off. When it comes to dynamic, when you're talking about swing things, there is commonly, humans can only do 2 things in their swing, maximum. So generally it would be like 1 swing going back, 1 swing going through, 1 thought going through, yeah, to have an effect on the shot. I would struggle to even count how many digits I've got on my hand in my entire time that I have met an individual that could successfully do 3 dynamic thoughts in their head whilst in motion in the swing. Some, and there is a vast more of the percentages which can only do 1 in their swing than 3. The main things you have is 2, then straight after that is 1, and then a tiny percentage of people that can do 3 in. So basically, keep it simple, stupid, and only give the client, only give the golfer, the student, as much as they can learn. But then as a coach, the one thing I was, especially in my younger days of coaching, the one biggest thing I did as a mistake is I wanted to push people too quickly and I wanted to get them better quicker. And all I did effectively was start confusing them, start getting them to a point of where they've found a feel of what they're doing, and then they lose it because they're having to concentrate on other things. And then you backtrack, and then that's not fair on them because they're paying you to make them better, or make them at least make them understand what direction they need to go, etc. The thing I hated, and I kind of retracted straight away as soon as I understood that was starting to become a very small pattern, that basically only give the individual as much as they can deal with and just be conscious of the learning styles of the individual. Grade the Kid, hello Grade the Kid. I think also that even different model irons from the same manufacturer have different shaft lengths. They do. Lack of shaft, standard in length and lie, and even flex in various clubs. Some reg flex more stiff. Okay, so there is a certain movement when it comes to length of shaft, and they're all moving around half an inch for each other. So you've got one person here, 1/4 inch one way, 1/4 inch the other way. They are fairly close with 7-irons. I agree with you, there should be a standard. It would be much easier for golfers to recognise a comparison with standard lengths, etc. Now, again, you can measure clubhead speeds, etc., and make sure clubhead speeds are the same. If clubhead speeds are the same, obviously it's like for like, and you can do apples for apples testing. But the interesting thing you've got here, standard length lie is an interesting one, because obviously I get different media samples from different companies, and if I've got the opportunity to get them to put their 7-iron to 63 degrees at a certain shaft length, I will do, because the only thing I like is my lie to be as close to 0 as possible. Now, honestly, some manufacturers, when it comes to media samples, the JPX 923 samples that I got from Mizuno, like the hot metals, they were flat, and I hated them. When it comes to doing the testing, it was very difficult to physically do certain amounts of the test because of the lie angle was so poor. Again, manufacturers really need to do a better job of talking with their media partners to make sure that they get the right equipment to be able to test it correctly and give a fair evaluation. But yeah, lie is an interesting one. The shaft flex one, that is just, everyone needs to stop thinking about shaft flex. Just dump shaft flex completely. Stop thinking about it, stop talking about it. There's nothing called flex. There's no such thing as flex. It's bend profile. What bend profile do I require? Ignore the weight, ignore the flex. What bend profile do I require first and foremost? Okay, then we talk about weight, because weight does make a difference. Flex is just the manufacturer's understanding, and when they ping that thing, it oscillates at 500 times. Oh, that's a stiff, and it oscillates a little bit. Oh, that's a regular. And then the manufacturer does the same test with a different profile completely, because obviously they all make different bend profile shafts. They oscillate different, and of course everyone has their own understanding of standard. If people just went on bend profile or EI curve for a shaft, understand what shaft you need for how you load a shaft, to load a golf shaft. So what shaft do I require to be custom fit within the given head weight? Because obviously all manufacturers have got slightly different head weights, but I don't want to like complicate things. Basically, what shaft do I need? How do I load the shaft? How do I release a shaft? I mean, that's the great thing with Mizuno Swing DNA. That analyzer tool analyzes all of that, and it tells you exactly what bend profile or EI curve shaft you need. Irrelevant, ignore the X, the R, because I've done fittings in the past where I've had the top three, one's an R, one's an S, one's an X, and you want to see their little noodles get cooked because they go, oh, I can't play an X, or I play an R. Yeah, but you're playing a dynamic gold R300. I mean, that's a big son of a, that's a fairly stout old girl. And you're going then down to a Modus 120X, which has some parts of their bend profile ridiculously lower than a regular DG. And this is where people get it completely and utterly wrong. Stop thinking about flex, it's EI curve or bend profile. If you go to a fitter, and I really disagree with this, bumper car fitting, where they kind of do that, and they will start off with one shaft, that shaft, that shaft, that shaft, that shaft, that shaft. You go through so many shafts where all you need to do is go get a Mizuno Swing DNA tool, swing it 3 times. It's a swing analyzer, not a strike analyzer. You don't have to really do a great job of hitting the blooming thing. It measures your swing. Job done. It gives you a brilliant baseline to go off, and it has 3 swings. Rather than you wasting your calories, your well-earned energy, basically trying to find out what shaft works. But there is also another reason why they do that, and I won't go into it. But I can do if you want me to, but yeah. JK Ben said, what's the big deal with one length irons? It's that lovely thing of consistency. It's a marketing thing on the basis of if we can keep the ball position, etc., the posture, etc., everything more consistent, then golfers that find consistency an issue will then find themselves much easier to be able to control low point, control strike, control everything. The problem you have with that is there is a distinct reason why the normal step in shaft lengths, 1, ball position changes, 2, shaft length increases, which increases club head speed. And of course, as soon as you start taking loft off, you need that golf ball to go faster because launch comes down because lower loft. And unless you're putting a lot more speed into that, you are going to get bunch gappings. And when it comes to the gap wedge idea, where you've got the gap wedge the same length for shaft as your 7-iron, that blooming thing is going so high in the air, that's going to have snow on it by the time it comes down. So I've tested them. I've seen other people test them. It does work for some people, but those people that generally work for have got quite a few other issues in their golf that they are just trying to remove as many inconsistencies as possible. So Kyle says, Jay Betton, I think near 1 length irons are fantastic for some 1/4 gaps instead of half. Yeah. Joe says, how do you know if your irons are too long or too short for you? Do you know contact the ball and outcome? I know you can use tech for lie angle length. I don't know how. Strike pattern. So basically you're looking for, if your irons are too short and you're hitting everything off the toe, then add some length, see what happens to your generalized strike pattern. This is all a test. You cannot do this under a, well, there you go, that's you. 2 + 2 = 4. There you go, we know it equals 4. This is different. Unfortunately, golf in this sense is much, much different. It is down the lines of, see where your generalized strike pattern is. If it's off the toe, do you know what? Let's just get an extra ½ inch on a shaft, demo shaft. If you've got one, no different to a lot of the manufacturers will have obviously their demo kits. If you can put a demo iron of what you currently use within reason and just put an extra ½ inch longer shaft in it, see what happens. And if your strike comes into the middle, then that's a very good assumption that you need a little bit extra length in your golf clubs. Everything out the heel is a classic. I hit too long a shaft, and again, take ½ inch off. It doesn't work by you just gripping down because you counterbalance it. well, no, I won't bore you with that one, but cut it down, well, not cut it down, but test if you can, a slightly shorter one. And then also, the one where it shows that it's too long is when you have a sporadic. So a normalized pattern, if you put someone slightly shorter shaft, their pattern of spray consistency of strike becomes much better. When it comes to the, shall we say, too long and much more varied, it can either be very much so heely or it can be varied. Shorten the shaft length down, becomes, the spray consistency becomes much, much better straight away. Jacob Ben says, great chat, gotta go, back to work. Everyone has to work, unfortunately. But it's lovely having you on, so thank you very much. But there you go. So that's a little thing about shaft length as well. But yeah, we're talking about bounce and why bounce makes no or little difference to turf interaction whatsoever. Manufacturers, there's a reason why manufacturers don't give bounce data on their specifications, or very little amount of data they give out to the public. They'll give you amount of offset it's got, it'll give you the blade length sometimes. They'll even give you top line thickness. They'll give you the lie angle, they'll give you the loft, they'll give you the length of shaft, they'll give you all of these wonderful dynamic dimensions because they think it makes all the world of difference. They'll talk to you about turf interaction, they'll talk to you about sole this and sole that, for better this and better that, for more consistent this and more consistent that. But for some reason they give you no data on actually how much bounce there is. And if you go digging and find how much bounce there isn't on these golf clubs, and you think, well, hang on a minute, on my data alone, I don't de-loft distinctly loads. It's not something that I have a 30-degree head and I'm delivering 22 degrees. I'm not de-lofting by 8 degrees. There are some people, including tour guys, which de-loft far more than me. And obviously they're faster, and of course they just pump that ball in the air quicker. But as a general rule, I would say I'm fairly lowish to mid on my de-lofting. And for me, the bounce makes no difference, because basically, unless you are talking about a ping, where a ping is basic, within reason for a 7 iron, it's got about 9 degrees, I think it was, 9 degrees. And so if I'm de-lofting 4 or 5 degrees, I'm still got +4 on there. And I'm hitting ball first, so it makes no difference to me whatsoever. Turf interaction, will it make the turf, will it make the divot marginally smaller? Guys, I've hit so many shots now off of grass with different golf clubs in my time. No, it makes no difference how big my divot is if I go to a Mizuno with 4 degrees of bounce or a ping with over double it. So if it makes no difference to me whatsoever, and yeah, if I was to be the person, and the argument goes, but what happens if you're someone who hits the ground first? Well, it's the same thing, but shifted that way. If there's no difference in divot between one that's got 4 degrees of bounce and one's got 9 degrees of bounce, well, effectively, obviously, when I'm de-lofting to the point where there's no bounce on one golf club and 4 to 5 degrees of bounce on the other golf club. So there's still got bounce on this other golf club, yet there's no difference in divot. All we're talking about is shifting the low point. It makes no difference. This is why I think it's hilarious when we're talking about how much people think bounce makes and this turf interaction. Whenever anyone turns around and talks about turf interaction, I'm thinking, how do you do? It's like someone turn around. Let's start talking about what's the best shaft flex. Well, shaft flex is no different to standard length of irons. There is no standard. Everyone has a slightly different one, very slightly. I mean, it moves around small amounts with length, but shaft is just anything. There are so many different shafts, all of different flexes, all of different weights, all have different bend profiles. Different bend profiles going everywhere. They're saying one's an R, one's an X, one's this one, and there is no continuity whatsoever. There is no standard whatsoever. So it's like saying to someone, what's the best shaft flex? What are your thoughts on jumbo grips? I've noticed it helps with my grip pressure. I'm super tense with normal grips. Absolutely fine. I don't mind different size of grips. I've known people go jumbo, and again, you're right, they just feel that they've got a better grip of it. They feel if they go too small, they feel they've got to hold on to it tighter because it doesn't fill their hands. And generally speaking, so where I used to coach and custom fit full time in Bury St Edmunds, very close to Bury St Edmunds was a local two bases. That's the USAF base, was it Mildenhall and Lakenheath. And a lot of the Americans were coming over, obviously from there, going to the range and having custom fits and stuff. And there used to be a little bit more of a pattern of two things. One, seniors going to a bit more of a thicker grip, and two, Americans would always want to, like, not say deviate that way, but they wouldn't want to go, generally speaking, like normal standard, relatively thin standard grips. They would always want to go slightly thicker. Whether that's got baseball, whether that's got any form of thing, obviously baseball bat and all, I don't know, but that's just the pattern. And so it's that was the pattern that I saw. I'm not saying that is a pattern, I'm just saying that's the pattern I saw. But it worked wonders for people. It really did work wonders, especially for people, say, with arthritis and stuff like that, and wedges as well. Some people went fat grips, and different grips can make a big difference to how people perceive feel. So yeah, it can be extremely important, definitely. Right. You two drink. You two drink. You two drink. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. I appreciate anytime anyone does. I always appreciate it. Carl says, I'm worried about when I get fit later this year that I may run into issues because I can't test clubs with jumbo grips on them. This is difficult. I must admit it is. All you can. It is difficult. Yeah, well, I would say out of all the queries and concerns that people have, that is difficult, because there's literally nothing you can do to get around that. If you knew there was a pattern of doing certain things, as in if you say that if I go too thin on my grip, everything goes left. And if we could some way get a version of your own golf club that you have exactly what you have, but with a standard grip, and measure that one as opposed to the normal grip, you could get an understanding of what your deviation pattern was, your dispersion pattern, etc., between having a standard grip and a jumbo grip, and get an understanding of what's going on there pattern-wise. You can then take that to a golf course. If you say, if I go short, if I go, let's say you go thin, and let's say everything goes as a pattern wants to go left. This is how it did. It could go anywhere, but it's just how it goes left. And in the fitting, when you're getting fit for something, you saw that the standard grip, the best one, was actually 5 yards right of target. Well, you're thinking, well, if I then go as a pattern, if I then go fatter on my grip, for me, let's say, that has a tendency for the golf ball to go further right of the standard one. My normal standard one goes 25 yards left, and my jumbo grips go effectively 0. Well, does that mean there's a distinct possibility if you're 5 yards right, that means you're going to be 30 yards right if you go get them? So I can understand that. I mean, some form of a known database or a known pattern of what happens when you have one or the other would make it much more easier on you, but it's really difficult. It is really, really difficult. I do feel for you on that one. Absolutely do. Right. Let's quickly, have we got, let's go over, yeah, cool. I will flick over quickly here because I want to show you, I just want to go see if I can add, where's the little, oh, that's the reason why it won't work, because I was on the wrong box. Oh, press the wrong button. There you go, you get to see a little bit of kaleidoscope transitions, there you go. So I'm not going to pick on any one particular here. So all this information here, I'm not going to say that this is right or wrong. Well, I can do, but it doesn't mean it. It's the whole idea. So let's just go. Tony's one says, turf interactions are chunk taken out the turf when you make your shot. The easier the club can slide through when you flush your shot, the better. That's an interesting one, because obviously if we're saying that potential bounce has extremely little impact whatsoever on how that golf club goes through the ground, Yeah, that doesn't actually do anything for that at all. Ice tray, welcome sir. As I understand, turf interacts with how your club moves through the turf. This is being how deep or shallow your club goes through into the turf and how smoothly. Smooth is an interesting one. Bounce affects how much your club interacts with the turf. This is being how much the club digs into the turf. Interesting. I wonder how many more people read in the comments have a different view or agree with it. But a very logical thought pattern, which it is. I didn't say it was right, but yeah. Agree. The difficulty is that it's so subtle player to player that works for you is also dependent on the kind of grass you play on. Absolutely. You can have a very negative angle attack, but if you bottom out your arc only goes just below the surface, you can have a lot of success with low bounce irons. True. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But your flow point drifts backwards, you'll have a rough case of the chunks. Definitely. But that's true with anything. Doesn't matter if you've got high bounce low. If your low point, this is the problem. If your low point is before the golf ball, don't worry about equipment, fix that. Just fix that. Don't worry about equipment choice or anything else like that. If you understand that your low point is before the golf ball, you'll hit terra firma, you hit the big ball before the small ball. Fix that. Don't fix equipment at all. Blah, 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 blah. If your angle attack is shallow like mine, you might like a very thin sole or just for the turf interaction. Yeah, diggers might prefer a V-sole like a Shrixon or any larger sole. Again, going through, if you're going to diggers, we're talking someone with a steep angle attack and steep D-loft to get as a generalised rule. Even if you go V-sole or any larger sole, you are going to be still D-lofting that amount. There is no bounce. There is literally no bounce whatsoever. I've got itchy snozzer. There you go, a bit better now. So we've also got Christoph behind the. Oh, I can see the chat here. Good evening. Had a log from a different profile as my comments weren't appearing on your chat for some reason. Looks like I've been blocked. Christoph. Christoph, what was your old one? Looks like I've been blocked. I never said anything offensive online. So strange. Generally speaking, people have to. I don't block many people. I'll be honest. I like communicate. I like chat. I like interaction. I like people being pleasant to each other and being able to say things in a way which people learn. There are people, I will be honest, that just all they say is negative things. All they say is just this or that, and it gets to a point where, even for me, I think, look, do you know what? If you don't like what you're watching, watch something else. Or do you know what? Go away. Because for the people which just truly don't understand, I am more than happy to spend a certain amount of my time with them, chatting to them. It takes time for me to reply to people, and if I feel that they are generally being inquisitive, and again, text is very difficult to find the nuance of what they're trying to say. It's so difficult with that. You can't tell what they're trying to say because obviously it's just written information. So I give everyone the benefit of the doubt and I just engage with them. And if I find out straight away that they're just being stupid basically, and they're just getting to a point of where, regardless of what I say, they're just trying to be negative and stuff like that. They're on the odd few occasion, yes, I'll be honest, I don't see also how other people should be subject to reading that, because it's not helpful in any way. Literally not helpful in any way. So I will block them, ban them. But we are talking very, very few people. Christoph said, that's not me, never mind, I just wanted to get involved, keep up the good work, I love your videos. Christoph, by all means, oh hang on, I'll tell you what, you can't see that because I've still got this up. Ready? There we go. There's Christoph. Say hello, everyone say hello to Christoph. Have we got a little, no hang on, where's the little thing? Where's my little thingy? There it is. Hey. I haven't got a wave, unfortunately. If Christoph, if I could, I'd have waved. Right. But you know, you're more than welcome to join in whenever. Obviously, I do these first Monday of every month. Anyway, what's time now? We've been going on for a little while. My live streams, generally speaking, are longer than most. I have a tendency to want to be able to, I want to give back basically to people. People spend their time watching me and also subscribing and stuff like this. So I use these opportunities as best I can do to give back to you guys. So I can be freely here, open for you guys to put your questions across, and I will answer them to the best of my ability and help you out as best I can. Plus, well, I'll be honest, it's quicker for me to talk than it is to type. And so I'd much rather sometimes, although I love the comments, don't not comment. Comment below. Comment everything. Like the videos, comment. YouTube loves it. It's a part of their algorithm. It's the engagement side of things. So if more people just comment hello and like the video, you don't have to say anything. If you've got nothing to say whatsoever, just comment below hello. It helps the algorithm out amazing amounts. KL says, would be nice to see a grass range chunk test. Played versus game improvement versus super game improvement versus hybrid when I hit 1 inch in front of the golf ball. When hit 1 inch in front of the golf ball. That's really difficult. That is really, really very, very difficult. You'll need a robot to do it. But then with a robot, because a robot, I mean, you're looking at then shaft deflection, which would then, well, head deflection, which would effectively be shaft deflection, that would be the differential between divots, because obviously a robot is metal. It will not sort of react to anything else like that. But then again, yeah. What I'm saying, Kale, is it's so ridiculously tiny in the realms of how much bounce is actually being delivered into the ground. And it can very, very easily be negative bounce. So there is no bounce at all. That all this chat about turf interaction, when you're talking about the importance of it, or how people see how incredibly crucial turf interaction is. Turf interaction is so much more down to what turf you're playing on than it is anything to do with bounce. No, it's not. Not even close. Right, let's go flick over to back over to here. There we go. And I'll go flick over so I can then move down. Right, let's just go bounce. So X-Blade 173, bounce prevents the front edge digging in and will help keep your momentum through the swing. Again, X-Blades 173. We've just discussed the fact that commonly people can be negative bounce. So the only thing that the front edge is doing, the only reason your front edge is not digging in is because that is the lowest point of your arc. That's not bounce doing that. Hi Jay, I believe bounce and ability are pretty connected. High or wide bounce clubs like Shrixon pings can really help steep angle attack swings. Again, steep angle attack swings can and also generically do have a high D-loft factor. This is not all the case. Obviously, it's not all the case, but commonly steep angle attacks have heavy D-loft factors. And so, again, 8 degrees of bounce, D-lofting by 8 degrees, that's no bounce at all. I don't think bounce plays a major factor either way. I don't consider myself a great ball striker, yet my MP60s and Shrixon's X5 5 iron I've thrown in the bag recently get through the turf pretty much the same. I rarely hot off mats, and I think mats and in particular Sims can give golfers false impressions of their strike performance. They can do. So driving range mats are notoriously really helpful. As you can think, you can go to the driving range, hit off a mat, have an amazing range session. Like you go back, I'll tell you what, I'm coming back tomorrow. That range session, I was hitting the golf ball so pure. You're actually hitting golf ball before it. It's just that the mat is so hard relative to dirt that the golf clubs glide into it. And it's you never take a divot out of mat, do you? Ever. Your divot goes about that big. It's not a divot, but your brush of the ground goes about that big. When you go onto grass, instantly it's that big. It's that big, there you go. Instantly it's massive. It's because just the mat is so hard. Now, you're displaying the same amount of bounce if you're hitting off the mat as you are the soft ground. It's just that you have a massive divot in the soft ground, yet you have no divot in the mat. Why? Because the mat's really, really hard and the ground's really, really soft. So no different. The bounce makes little difference. It's the ground conditions which makes the biggest difference. And especially if you're someone who delivers steep angle attack, commonly steep D-loft, there's no bounce being shown anyway. Same thing I think that was. My understanding is limited. I know from personal experience, wider soles and larger bounce opposed to support the super game improvement clubs. Yeah, that's marketing. That's really good marketing. That's already getting through to people that if you are a rubbish golfer, you need large bounce, large soles. Large soles are great for getting the golf ball up in the air because centre of gravity is lower and further back. They're more forgiving as well because obviously the centre of gravity is further away from the face, so it has a slightly more resistance to twist. Have a bit more gear effect on it, but apart from that, yeah. Blades with a less skilled player can dig into the ground. Nope. They won't dig into the ground any more or less. It's just where the ball is. If you're doing your swing and again, that's your arc, like a circle, it's going around taking divots out the ground, that's only relative to where the ball goes. If your ball is after where the golf club wants to come down and hit the ground first, your arc is still the same, it's just where that ball is. Whether you've got a big sole or not makes no difference whatsoever. But yeah, that goes back to what we were saying before about Joe and how swaying, moving your low point horizontally makes a big difference. But yeah, I mean, there are so many questions on there. Well, it's not questions, comments. And they are a range of very, very good ones, some curious ones, and ones that sit on the fence, which I like. I don't mind someone being very, very confident of the right answer. That's great, because I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying at all that I'm the encyclopedia of knowledge. All I'm saying is that I'm quite happy to be taught in a way, logically, scientifically, which I can follow, which makes absolute logical sense with physics. And this whole thing with bounce, it's hilarious. I mean, what's that? Like an old JPX 921, they are delivering 0 bounce because the 923s have got slightly more bounce, 1 or 2 degrees dependent. And you could argue, yes, I might be delivering maybe 1 or maybe 2 degrees of actual bounce, effective bounce at the point of strike. 2 degrees is not going to make a blooming bit of difference. We are not talking something's 10. It's the different thing about wedges. When we're talking about when I was saying about the bunker shots, etc. If you're going to open up a face, you've got a 55 degree with 14, 15 degrees of bounce on it. You open up that face so it's now 70 degrees. Now you've got 30 degrees of bounce on it, give or take, 25, 30 degrees. That is making a difference. 2 degrees don't make no difference at all. Let's go back over to here. That's cool. A Special K said, my missus said, I can have one golf-related golf present for my birthday. Any ideas? Yes, £1,000 worth of vouchers, because you can get many things with them. Just an idea. Goldfish says, does attempting to order an 11 iron set without shafts and using the Mizuno swing irons make more sense than going with 11 selected shaft? Yes, it does. It's head weights. If you can, I can find out for you, if you want, what are the head weights. You will have to then factor that in, because obviously when you're talking about head weights will deflect the shaft more. Yeah? So if you're interested, I have got a contact, I can find that out for you. Christoph's back in saying, aren't wider soles better for going through the rough? No. Because if you're hitting down, It's like saying, okay, is wider soles better for you hitting out of a fairway bunker? Fairway bunkers, you still hit down. You're still hitting down on. So you hit ball, then divot. So you're still de-lofting. Carl says, hit off a mat all winter, first time out on a super wet golf course, and my club kept getting stuck in the ground after strike. Yep. Goes back to what I was literally just saying. People talk about bounce. Nope, it's the ground conditions. That's the biggest factor in turf interaction. People can have a session on something, they go to somewhere and test out the new Humu Fujiwara Z7000 iron, supposed to be the best iron in golf. Go out there on perfect turf consistency, moisture amount, and it just takes lovely little baby divots out there. It's just, oh, it sounds lovely. I'm buying them straight away. Go down that low golf course where the water table, shall we say, is a little higher and it's a little soggy and it's like playing on a swamp. The next thing you know, you're taking half a cubic yard out of wherever you are in the world out. The ball's gone, but it's just like, wow. It's exactly the same swing, different ground conditions. That bounce is making no difference whatsoever. It's the ground. Carl J26, hi, I did not know I should consider bounce on irons. No, I should. I only pay attention to it on wedges. I use it on touch shots and pitching. Yeah, you shouldn't. So on wedges, absolutely pay attention. Bounce, yes. On irons, if you're someone, again, this goes down to. I'll tell you what. I'll go up to the other. I'll go up to over here. We'll explain again. Right, so people will turn around and say this. Okay, so what happens if you're one of these people who does not, there you go. If you're one of these people who does not de-loft, so you come into an angle attack and you've got shaft lean, you are not de-lofting, you're not doing that. You're one of these people come in and you're doing this. Yeah, so you're adding loft. Because what happens, people, you'll generally speaking, people won't go do this. Yeah, people do that because they're behind the golf ball and they want to get the golf club to the golf ball. So they just try their best they can do to get the golf club to the ball. They do that. Now, they commonly then, you hit a 5 shot. This is a 29-degree lofted head, and I'd commonly 3-4 degrees, something like this. So I think on the test, because I wanted to try and keep, where is it? This one here. Come on, little bugger, get out of the way. There we go. That's the zip core one. And obviously, these two irons, there we go, they are the same lofted. So you've got the zip core and then also got the halo. They're the same loft 29 degrees. And I wanted to keep them for like testing. I want to keep them the same. So I done 26 degrees, 26.1, 26.2. At 70 and 80 and 90 miles an hour. But if we're thinking about people that do this, do that. The old classic, hang back, throw the golf club to them, delivering loads of loft. Well, their issue is not bounce. Bounce is completely the wrong thing to think about. The fact that they have got their low point this far behind the golf ball, and the fact that they are having to throw the golf club to the golf ball to get the golf club to the golf ball, delivering a boatload of loft and having common issues with path and face to path because of such, that is their issue. Don't even think about bounce. Don't think I can't use high or low lofted clubs or this, that, or bounce clubs, because that is not the issue. You should never ever make a equipment choice based on something which is chronic to your swing. As in, you've got something there which is absolutely chronic to consistency. You've got something there, poor loft delivery and poor angle attack and poor everything else. That's critical to you being able to be a consistent golfer. You need to fix that. And if you fix that, the world is your oyster about what golf clubs you want. There is no golf club on the planet which will allow someone who delivers like this to play at scratch level. Just won't. So stop trying to look at this as a way to improve. If you need these things for the reason of what I don't swing as quick as I used to, or I need help getting the golf ball in the air because I do de-loft a little bit too much. Now, if you're a de-lofter, that is so much more safer than going the other way, because you can come down too much on a golf ball, which is fine because you can still have your ball then floor interaction. You can still be a good golfer like that. You can never be a good golfer if you're back here and then throwing the golf club to it. That's never going to happen. So that's the whole idea. If we move out the way of thinking that because of my swing fault, being the fact that I have a poor understanding of low point, etc., and I need these irons, or I need this, or I need that, just dump that idea, work on the basis of fixing you, fix the swing, and then you can work on such things as equipment. The world is your oyster. If you have a half okay swing, you don't need a perfect swing, or you just need something which is going to give you the best opportunity to be as consistent as possible. Ted's in the house. Hello, buddy. Hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. No, I need to flick around too much. Hey, everyone say hello to Ted. Hello, Ted. My mouse will run out of charge if I keep doing that. I hope you're well, bud. Carter, I did not know, so I've got that one ready. And Chris is... Wave to Ted. Dear me, right. So, what I was going to do... Oh, so here it's a little bit of fun. Should we do a little bit of fun? Right. I want you to give me your honest opinion. Can I do this? Which way should I do this in a fun way? I'll do this in a fun way. Okay, let's just do this in a fun way. Right. Here's a poll, people. Now, don't vote yet because you don't know what you're voting for. Right. This is, you ready? So this is what the first one. So this is going to be the first one in question. Which one is it? Hang on, I've got to get this right now. Nope. Nope. Where is it, you stupid thing? Yes, found it. Found it, found it, found it, found it, found it. Right. This is for the top one. Ready? That's for this one here. The black and grey quarter zip. Like it or not? We have the poll going. There's the poll, there's the poll. Go on, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Do you like it? Do you find it vile? So we'll have a little bit of fun doing this, because I've got some things to show everyone. Now, obviously, the members have already seen this, so you would obviously, yep, this is no surprise to you. And as yet, I was a bit disappointed. Obviously, we had Easter and stuff, and so it's getting in the way because obviously we had the Friday and the Monday in the UK being Easter holidays, so no one was working. When I say no one was, I was. No such thing as bank holidays and weekends and YouTube world. But yeah, I'll get to those ones in a sec. I don't need that anymore. I'll go put that over there. Make sure I put that one back on. Right, so we'll leave it for a minute or two and give people a chance to vote. See what you think. And then we'll go do another one. Right, so at the moment, we've got 11 votes. 82% of you don't mind it. We had 12 votes, 83%, only 17% think you don't like it, which is fine. So let's say that works. Okay, cool. Now, let's do For the bottom one, the blue. Do you like the blue better? Do you like it or do you dislike it? Do you think that blue is horrid? Would you wear it effectively is what I'm saying, isn't it? Really, if someone says, here you go, Bob, have this. Would you go, ah, cheers, Brian. That's so kind of you. Thinking, I'm never putting that on. Or are you thinking, I'm going to take my clothes off straight away and wear it like right now. So we got 79% to 21. Oh, that's interesting. So already there is a little bit more of a dislike for the blue than there is the grey. Bear in mind, I'm getting all these, so I'll have to remember what not to wear, because if you don't like it, there's no point in me wearing something if you're just going to be like, I'm just listening to him. I'm not watching him, I'm just listening. That's it. I can't stare at that. There are some things down here that I can understand. If you had that feeling, I'd get it. And I'll also show you what the wife has written on there from post-it notes for being funny that she is. Right, so we got, I think we'll end that one to a price. Oh man, I don't even ask. It's Mizuno, so it's going to be, what? It's golf, isn't it? You could probably go down to Sports Direct or whatever store is like Sports Direct and get something like that from Humu Fujiwara, unknown brand, whatever, for like 20 quid. Mizuno's going to be, I don't know, for one of them, probably it's going to be 70 quid, something stupid. Right, so then the poll there, we got 80% quite like the blue, although more like the grey. Okay, right, so more like the grey. Oh, we'll do it there. There we go. There we go. So now slightly different. So we're going to do, we'll do the top one first. We'll do the top one first, the blue, and then the whitey grey bottoms, and it says Mizuno Golf on the front. Do you like it? Do you not? At the moment, at least 80% of you like them. And with some of the, I'll go get them, you know, for a bit of fun. Now, which one is this? Is that? No, it's not that one. I've got something here, and of course I'll show you in a sec. Members have already seen this, because it is quite funny. Oh, that's not good. We've got 8 votes already, and it's 50-50. Okay. So we might be saying that that may not be making an appearance. Depends. If you don't like it, no point in me wearing it. 56% more say you don't like it now. I would like, Hills has just said, in the back here, I would like for my body shape to fit them, fit into them. Mizuno is fairly hugging when it comes to their fit, and so yes, if you are portly or rotund or round, then yeah, Mizuno may not be the best clothes to wear. And look like you're going to be smuggling a spare car tyre. So we have, we'll finish it there because I think everyone, yeah, that's enough. Right, so 9 votes for that one, and it was 55 and 44. More didn't like it. Ah, oh, crap. No, well, no, that's not going to go well then, is it? Where's that thing gone? Excuse me. Right, so let's just go have a little look what the thing says. I like them both. Gray the Kid said I like them both. That's the first 2. Unfortunately, not many people like that other one. Not good, is it? Right. Right, where are we going? Okay, so let's, for a bit of fun. Oh, it's me doing that. I wonder what's going on. Yeah. Right, so let's see if we can do the next one. So let's just go add a little bit of fun. Let's just go find something ridiculously like disgusting. Let's back up again. Okay. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Right, there you go. Right, first of all, the top one. Not the green, the top one, right? Let's just do another poll. Hang on. Don't vote yet. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, God. Got to type there first. There we go. Do you... Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just do it like that. Ready? The top one. Not the green one. The top one. Do you like it? Yes or no? Do you like it? Right, so, wow. 8 votes already, 88%. Any special cases? No, God, no. Okay, so that's a distinct no. Keep going. Let's get as many votes as we can very, very quickly before we flick over to the special, which is going to be that one. Right, come on, let's go get the votes in. There's got to be other ones around here that are just equally as horrid. Oh, there is. And so that's the top one. Oh, we got it here. No, there you go. There we go. We have it here. And so you can see at the moment we've got 11 votes. 73% of you think it's not such a good idea. Yeah. There is an emoticon for the bottom one, Neil says, and it is a little bit of a pukey sign. Yep. And so, Niels, for that one, this is what the wife thought, because the wife has, well, I had 7 items. I had 7 items come in my first part of the SS24 drop. And like an idiot, I left them in view of her. And so when I come back, she'd tidied them up, because she's very good like that. But she's also added a few messages. And the message that she left me for the one we've literally just been voting on, which 73% of you do not like. Eek. Eek. I'm guessing from that point of view, she feels the same way. Right, so let's end the poll on that one. We've had 72% of you didn't like it. And Kieran says she's right. I think you might be right on that one. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just quickly do it, shall we? Let's start the poll for... Go on. Everybody that can, vote. Everybody that can, vote. I would love to see. Obviously, this is anonymous. I cannot tell who is saying yes or no. I just want to know if anybody thinks that. Now, I haven't got this one yet. This is en route. I can just imagine what the wife is going to say about that one. Oh my word, it's neck and neck. Holy moly. It's 60-40 now. Come on, there's got to be some yeses out there. Let's get it back. Come on. Get the yeses going. I cannot believe that the green one is going to have better results than the blue. Go on. Oh, wow, how is this getting better results than the blue? In that case, I might have to be wearing green. Chris says green is miles better. Wow. there we go. We'll end that one. Have we got any more votes? Are we good on that? Any more for any more? We're happy. We're good. We're good on that one. I cannot believe that's just gone and outdone the blue. Cool. Ted says we're just being contrary. Yes, yeah, that's true. Chris says on that specific shirt, of course. Yes. Neil said apparently there is more colourblind people than I thought. Right. Let's just go again. Oh, I got some specials. Oh, for a second there I thought I was going to. Right, here we go. Now we're going to do the top one first. The top one is coming up. So here we go. We're going to start a poll, and oh, do you like something else was there for a second? Right, the top one, not the bottom one. This is a special for later. Go on. What do you think? Who was that? Who just put? This is I can't tell who's done this or not, but who has just put yes straight away? Wow. And I will. And where is it? I've got it here. I will. Oh no! I tell you what. I'll leave that there for a second. I actually have. That green is nowhere near as green as I thought. Look, ready? Oh, actually coming out more green when you look at it like that. It's not actually, it's a slightly darker green than what. And the wife says, not as awful as some. So I got, hang on, I got an eek for that. And I got for the green, I got not as awful as some. Okay, that's interesting. If you were really mean, you should make us choose which one we like better. Right. Yeah. Dear me. Ted's giving. I don't encourage him, Ted. He is funny though. Right, so, wow. So I'm gonna have to finish it on that. This is gonna be like the, I'm split on this one. Could be good beach shirt though, yeah. Okay, so this is what the wife said about, I have this shirt here, right? This is exactly what the wife said. Yep. Okay, so next one, right, here we go. So that's that poll done for the, she is funny, I know. What is it called? Hang on a sec, I just threw it down here as well. It's called Air Blue Cali Cool Polo. There you go, right. I've got to do it now. I can't type today. Ready? This is for the purple. Go on. I'm not, what? Goldfish says, yes, please find out the weight of the 11 heads. What we will then do with this knowledge. Is a swing analyzer clamp onto the specific cover used? No, it is on there. You can't do anything with it. Basically, what I'm saying is, if the head weights are very, very close to Mizuno's standard head weights, then yes, you can get around it. Basic case of if they're very, very similar, then you can just use a swing DNA. If it's heavier, then you're going to have to take into account there's going to be more deflection, and you might have to go a stiffer flex just to keep the bend profile a little bit more. What's it? Rigid. Lost me thingy, yeah. Right. Have we got, It's not good, is it? We've got 57% doesn't like it. That means 43% of you do like it. Wow. I'm amazed. Are we doing any more votes? Any more votes, please? Any more votes? And I will then show you the message that I was given from that. Well, they're left by a lovely little post-it note. I will get that. As you can see, I'll turn it around. Honestly, it's a slightly darker purple than what you see there, but it's actually not that much. It's just as horrid. I'm looking at this if I would wear it. Am I looking at that? No, you're saying, do you like it or not? Not know if you'd wear it. Do you like it? And then I'll show you what she wrote on there. Oh my God. We are at 55% saying that we like it. The problem is, guys, that you've already, like, hang on, up here. This is the 72% that you've already said that if I wear that, there is next to no chance that I'm going to be a happy me for quite some time if I wear that shirt by the looks of what she wrote on there. I'm not looking forward to, are we finished now? Are we on 55%? Honestly, is there no one else out there that really wants to put in a no? Go on, stick a no in. Right, okay, I'll end that there then. Oh my word. Right. 54% of you want. She's not a fan. She's not a fan. You'll be pulling on and off the course. Love it. Very funny. Very good. Right, so anyway, that was so yeah, we got a few different things there on there. What was the other ones? Just very, very quickly. We got a Fragma, whatever that is, and what did she write on that one? She wrote fine from a distance, because it's got all these little lines and stuff. Yep, fine from a distance. Yep. There was the blue in that one, which she wrote not horrendous. Okay, fair enough. And then we had other ones as well, but there you go. We got ones with Fragma bits on the other. There you go. There is one thing though. I haven't got these ones yet. Looking forward to these ones. I quite like the blue in that one. But one thing, socks. Not entirely certain why I've got socks coming, but there you go. Do I have to wear them? I'm a black sock person, personally. What colour socks do you... Hang on, that's an interesting point. I will have to raise that one. Hey, Yorkie Bar 1962's in the house. Hello. Here you go, just for a bit of fun. What colour socks do you wear? Oh, dearie me. Cap to match the shirt. Yes, that would be, I mean, I've got a couple more caps coming. To be fair, I'll be honest, Mizuno haven't updated their caps in a while, and they also, when it comes to their shoes, they're running last year's shoes this year as well. So no new shoes until next year. which is good actually, because obviously from a retail point of view, it keeps retail prices up, and it also, so that's not good obviously for the golfer, but I'm talking about for the retailers, because the retailers, unfortunately, when it comes to apparel, when it comes to shoes, when it comes to things like this, it's a classic thing of, it's not how much you buy, it's how much you're left with at the end, and when you have to discount them and give them away effectively, which eats into all the profit which they have possibly made on the rest of it. So this is the problem with anything to do with apparel, shoes and stuff like that. And if you have a constant turnover of shoes year to year to year to year to year, it's a right pain in the backside when it comes to shops. What we got so far, we have, there you go. So we haven't got, do not wear any other. Grey, that's an other. Red, blue, anything other. So at the moment, yeah, I'm the same. I'm a black sock kind of guy. Right, what's time? Oh, we've been on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. What I'll have to do, well, at this point, I've done all my bounce stuff, and I've had my little say. And hopefully people understand now that bounce truly is not something that people should even consider. But dynamic lie by far is more important to the quality of everything else than, yeah, bounce. I'll mix in some navy. Oh yeah, some navy, like it. Forgot about the navy. Yep, grey, navy, blue, like it. So we've got, Carl's just popped in a navy. It's a great choice. Black's still winning. Absolutely, hands down at the moment, is being absolutely overridden. White, navy, no. But I'm gonna have to wear white. Although one of them was trainer socks. That's like down with the kids, isn't it? I'm a bit too old for doing trainer socks. Daniel Shaw says anything that comes out the drawer. Open up, who cares? That one out, that one there. Different colour, that out. No one's going to see anyway. Carl says 90% black. Well, all my socks within reason. I don't think I've worn a white pair of socks in such a long time. Yeah, I don't think I have. So it'll have to be a bit different. So I will be basically Mizuno everything apart from boxer shorts. But again, it's what I choose to wear, guys. It makes no difference to how I do reviews or anything else like that. Mizuno know that. All manufacturers know that. Now, I will say, I mean, I'm frustrated though with Titleist. Titleist are frustrating me a little bit. PXG, at least, I don't know. I'll be finding out soon-ish if I'll be media partner with them or not. I don't know. But with PXG, yeah. But Titleist are frustrating. If anyone knows, excuse me, huge winning pops. If I might actually do a video on it, basically calling out to any subscriber, and if any subscriber knows a contact on the inside of Titleist that I could get a hold of, that I could get a human rather than a email address or a voicemail box. I want to talk to a human about becoming a media partner, so I can give you guys all the T-Series irons reviews and all the T-Series irons reviews versus everything else, but they're just being a right pain in the backside, and I can't get hold of anyone. Just not working. Just not working. Right. We're gone. We'll leave that one. Okay. When it comes to the socks, 61% black, 23% other. See, white socks are lowest. Mizuno, why are you going to send through white socks? One thing I will say as well, and I'm going to be doing these reviews very, very soon, as in very, very soon. Is that it? There we go. Another one here. I don't know yet. I haven't done the data set, so I don't know if they work or not. But I will say, when it comes to Cobra and this year's dark speed irons, these honestly are great. The driver head cover just looks the nuts. Is it me, or I feel a poll coming on? Hang on a second. I'm just going to say yes or no. I'm not even going to say. There you go. Yes or no. Do you like it? Yes or no. I personally think these look great. A full set of these. There's your driver one. You've got your 3-wood. Can you imagine? You've got your driver, your 3-wood. You've probably got another 3-wood. Not 3-wood. Another. You've got a 7-wood or something like that by the side of it, and there. Then you've got some hybrids or something like that as well. I mean, it would look. I think personally that they just knock it out of the park. Really have when it comes to this dark speed. They've done just an amazing job of making something look just nice. Ted's gone, Mr. Mumble, I was thinking of getting a hybrid just for the head cover. It's a really good idea, yeah. So we've got 90% basically people like it, and I think that's what they've done. I mean, that's actually quite comfy. I tell you what, it's a cracking winter mitt. This is where you want 2 drivers, so you can have 2 winter mitts. But I tell you, this is warm inside. It's a really nice head cover. Really is. Like, properly impressed with that. Nice and furry inside. Good quality. Good quality Cobra. Leather is like, as in proper leather. Well, yeah. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, there's not many black cows, but right. There we go. I still play Aerojet LS. Had to find a custom cover. Might have to buy that one. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would. It's still Cobra. It's just the stealth nature of it. They just look really quite good. And then the drivers, well, I tell you what, I'll go show you the driver anyway. Is it this one? Oh crap, stuff's gonna be falling over if I do that. Right. It's just good. I mean, that's the X version. But it's just really like, it just looks good. Everything's just really, really nice. The only thing I don't like is I'm not a great fan of the face. I like the fact that it's round, but I don't like all this. There's such aggressive rounding here. I'm thinking, well, just have more face. The more you round it, the more chance someone's got of hitting it and then disappearing off to the never never. But there you go. What shaft have I got this in? I got this in the, oh, here we go. Or the Ling M40X 6F4. There you go. I'll have to do a little research on that one. No, I don't really care too much about shaft anyway. Have you reviewed the Dark Speed LS? No, not yet. No, I'm still, I've got the X through and I've got all the 3-woods. I've got the X, the Max and the LS 3-wood. I'm just waiting for the 2 drivers to come through, the Max and the auction. To press that button, should I? I'm adjusting that. But I'll be getting the Max and the LS hopefully. I need to jog Sam's. I always forget between him and Wilson. I think it's Sam. Max is Wilson. There you go. So there you go. So that was fun. Dear me. Can't believe that many people like that blue floral thing. The wife is not going to be happy. Literally, she is not going to be happy. Right. Oh, did I not? No idea, didn't do that. Right, in that case then guys, if anyone else has got any other questions and bits and pieces, I will obviously answer them. Otherwise, I will bid you everyone farewell, and then I've got a busy filming day tomorrow. I've got the heater just came on. I cannot believe it needs that. It's warm enough in here. There you go. Right, guys, unless you're anything you'd like to add, no. In that case, I will bid everyone farewell. I like that as an emoji, liking that. It's been great. Thank you all for joining in. Thanks for the, I would say for Joe. If Joe's still watching again, thank you very, very, very kindly for everyone who's donated. It makes it. It does. It warms my little heart when people do that support the channel and me. I continue to try and do what I'm doing. Nearly up to 19,000 subs now, and then the 20,000. The wife says 20,000 by my birthday. See you all. Please join the channel. We do this every week. We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, when it comes to obviously these kind of ones, it's open to everyone. So it's we have to, obviously with the scope of anyone can watch them, you have to kind of mind your tongue a little bit to say what you can say and can't say certain things. But when it comes to got a cough, YouTube cough. When it comes to the members ones, yes, we've got a bit of behind the scenes and obviously things that come along product wise, pre-embargo stuff, little sneak peeks and stuff like this. It's always good to see. So yeah, consider joining if you would. And thank you very much to Joe. Again, appreciate the very kind donation. And Ted says, night everyone. Night night all. Thank you very much. And we'll see everyone for is it tomorrow? What's the day? Monday. Of course it is. Tuesday. Halo XL irons coming out tomorrow. And I think on Thursday, I'm not quite sure, got another video coming out on Thursday. So my upload is going to be definitely Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. If I can pop in an extra one in between, I will do. But that's going to be my plan, to do Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So hope you guys are well. Thank you very much again for joining in. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see everybody again soon.